On today's video, let's talk about legendary commanders that you should not invest legendary commander sculptures on. In this video, we're going to go over a list of a few commanders that are great to have, and they're an awesome Writers of History bundle, but other than that, I would not spend a single legendary commander sculpture on them. I'll explain why in this video, and we're also going to talk about the parameters as to why this was decided, and this will include an approach for free-to-play players all the way to big whales, everything along the way. So sit back, drop a like on the video. Hey there YouTube, welcome back to Gekko Gaming. In yesterday's video, carded up on the top right if you haven't seen that, I said rest in peace with Zetian, and in this video I'll explain to you why, among other legendary commander sculptures, that I would not waste on some of these commanders. Before we start though, I am a sponsored content creator by Rise of Kingdoms. If you enjoy the content, drop a like on the video, and of course, hit that subscribe down below and the bell right next to it. Turn on the bell to get a notification. That's right. About 57% of you are not subscribed to the channel. A lot of new subscribers. Thank you all and welcome to the channel. I hope to earn you new viewers subscription as well. By the way, 4 p.m. UTC, maybe 4:15. We'll be streaming tomorrow, Wednesday the 22nd, July 22nd. Every Wednesday, every Saturday, we do that as well. Come say hi. Let's set up some parameters so you guys understand why this list was created, and you can kind of figure it out based on your needs and requirements and level in the game. So giving you generic answers is not very easy in Rise of Kingdoms because each player has the amount they invest, the amount they've played, the amount of grinding they do, and everybody has a different situation. So I'm going to try to give you an overall look, and then you adapt the certain little things to your situation, and that's how you can figure out whether this is applying to you or not. So the rule of thumb is if you have enough legendary commander sculptures to expertise everything and anything, go wild, because why not, right? If you're someone like the top tier of this game that just straight up expertise everything, I know a lot of those who have everything expertise. It exists. If you're someone who has the legendary commander sculptures to expertise 2 commanders on every cycle, kind of like I do, then you can do that. If you're someone with less commander sculptures, this will apply to you too. And this list is not in any particular order, but we will give advice for every single type of level of spendage per se. Our first on the list has already been on the screen for a while, and it's Charlemagne. Now, Charlemagne is exceptionally good at rallying cities, but that's about that. He's a leadership conquering skill tree, behemoth, and he does a lot of damage. If y'all want to see Charlemagne in action, smash a like on the video and let me know down below. I believe MF said he sent us reports in game, but I haven't seen those yet. I might have to hit him up to send it to me again. But regardless, we have reports of him in action if you want to see him. So let me know. But if you're not someone like MF or Baba or even like smaller players than that, but big spenders that have the commanders, this is not one worth expertising. If you took all the rewards from Season 1 KVK, you got him and 150 sculptures of him, which gets you to a 5-3 scenario. And then you need another 500 plus sculptures to finish him up. I wouldn't do it at all. I think it's not worth it. It's only good if you're someone who's rallying cities, and very few of us rally cities. And the utility for him is so low that his shelf life is okay because you always rally cities, right? But the amount of time you use them is really not worth the commander sculptures, which you can invest on someone that you'll use much more and get pretty much the same results out of. So the first one on our list is Charlemagne. Unlock him, buy the Writer of History if you're someone who does that. He's good for that. And onto the shelf he goes. Goodbye, my friend. You've been there for a while, and you'll remain there for a while. Our second commander in this list is none other than the Season 2 reward of KVK, Zetian. Now, in my last video, if you haven't seen it, carded up on the top right, I mentioned that Zetian was done for. And a lot of you disagree. But I've noticed a trend in all of y'all's arguments as to why she's not dead, and they all assume that she already is in possession and not being expertised yet. Well, she's already expertised. And so, let's talk about her very quickly. Zetian, as a reward for Season 2 KVK, was one of the best, if not the best, garrison commanders we've had in a while. Up until her, garrison commanders was not a thing. There were some garrison commanders in here in the game by default, someone like Charles Martel and all these good stuff, which are garrison commanders. But new garrison commanders that fit with the new meta was not a thing up until her. When she came out, everything that existed could be stopped by her. And she was essentially the first little thing that Lilith did towards garrison. Now, up until the coming update, update 36, you could migrate to younger kingdoms, not doing KVK2 yet, and when you start your KVK2, an expertise Zetian would have been worth its weight in gold because nobody can rally that thing out. You're going to need triple rallies to get rid of Zetians, and that was very strong. But now that you can't do KVK Season 2 with Zetian, which seems fair to me, her shelf life went out the window really quickly. Why? Once you've expertised her, yes, you can use her in many other places. But when you say that, you're assuming that she's expertised. If I had the amount of commander sculptures I needed to expertise Zetian in my hand, and I had to pick at the time where she was very, very relevant, which is at the end of KVK Season 2, is it worth to spend those sculptures on her, or can I spend them on someone else that'll give me a better return? She is completely useless. Right after her, come out Attila Takeda. And Attila Takeda knock her out of any garrison. And Attila Takeda will remain the only rallies you'll see from the moment in that Season 3-ish where they come out all the way until Artemisia comes out. Attila Takeda will be completely unstoppable and there will be nothing you can do about it. Question mark, right? And that's, again, if you know this ahead of time, you are a younger kingdom, you can start working on your Constantine and Charles Martel and you stop Attila Takeda that way earlier than before. But as someone who has to live through surviving Attila Takeda, for example, and someone who survived it as the first wave who took him, I would say for younger generations of Rise of Kingdoms, not to spend a penny on Zetian and go all in on Constantine, for example. Why? Because Zetian, up until Attila Takeda, was great, and she was still great when you could migrate to a younger kingdom and be a king in KVK Season 2. But now that she's not that useful anymore, you need to figure out how you can take commander sculptures that used to go in her for garrison into a commander that can hold the new meta and can have more utility. Constantine is a great example. Constantine can substitute Zetian 1-to-1 without a doubt for garrison, because after Attila Takeda come out, all the rallies are Attila Takeda. And so Constantine, Charles Martel Constantine, is one of the best defenses for that. If you have the ability to invest in him instead of in Zetian, of course. Why would you invest in Zetian? Beyond holding a building, she can't do anything. He is great for Sunset Canyon and Lost Canyon. He can do open field battles. He can do, heck, you can even rally with him. I wouldn't do it, but you could. You can do a lot more with him than with a Zetian. So if I gave you right now the option, knowing everything you know, Zetian or Constantine, and you're way back at that part where you had to pick who you go with next, would you take Zetian or would you take Constantine now that you know what Zetian's shelf life is for the future? And that's why rest in peace Zetian, because realistically, her shelf life just went from a little bit here and a bunch back here, so long as you keep migrating backwards, to now only a little bit here and that's it. And then she's not useful anymore. Now, a bunch of you will tell me, oh, but Theodora and Zetian work so well. Hold your thought. We're going to get there. Our third commander in our list is Leonidas. Now, Leonidas is a little disappointment because, hear me out, he is really, really good on the open field. I used him in Osiris Invitational and loved him. But realistically, Guan Alexander will do just fine, if not just as good. And realistically, if you're someone who's investing in infantry, you should probably invest in Guan. And you already have your Alex, because you need to have your Alex. That's the #1 priority for infantry players. Why would you need Leonidas? This guy needs a buff. This guy needs more utility. I might be wrong. Leave a comment down below if you think I'm wrong and why Leonidas is worth expertising. A lot of folks say that, oh, but this is great. You can stack up a bunch all the way to like a crazy amount, lasts 5 seconds and stacks up to 4 times. You can really get 40% and pretty much guarantee consistent 40%. True, But you can also win the lottery, right? Like the percentages are higher than winning the lottery, but this doesn't justify 690 sculptures. I don't think it does. We've seen results of him on the field and of Guan Alexander, and the only reason maybe you could say Leonidas is because you're doing like a Richard Alexander and you want a Guan Leo. If you are someone who's in the infantry only department, infantry type of player, then sure, Leonidas is good for you. But as an overall player, I would skip Leonidas and I would put him as the last infantry commander that I would expertise, which include every other infantry commander on the list, including Guan, including Constantine, including even Charles Martel and Richard. And of course, Alex. I would not get close to this before having all of those expertise if I was an infantry player. If you are someone who is not a big spender and really try to keep up with the meta, look at the video that I made, carded up on the top right, about going backwards. I would never go backwards if you can't afford to. Always try to make sure you're staying ahead of the meta rather than trying to catch up with the old one. And so when this arrives, it's a great opportunity for you to go backwards a little bit, to get that Charles Martel a little bit more, to get that Constantine a little bit more, to get that Richard a little bit more, rather than this guy. Use whatever you have out of that was supposed to go to this guy to make up some of your weaknesses from previous iterations of infantry. Our fourth commander is Artemisia. That's right, I said it, and she is my bae. She has the best set of gear that I have for archers. She is someone that I'll be using for a very long time, but she has a catch, and we are gonna wind back a little bit further in time and get to the point where she came out. Her thing was stop Atel Takeda, and it still is. The reason, for example, I would recommend expertising her over Zetian again is that in 99% of cases, anyone who follows content creators and asks for advice knows that Yi Song-ye is the best commander out there, and most of y'all should have him expertised and if not working on him. Yi Song-ye is actually a great pair for Artemisia when it comes to holding Atel Takeda. I hold Atel Takeda with an Artemisia Yi Song-ye and it works really well. We held doubles and we held triples too with positive trades. The thing about her is that she is a very niche specific commander who's meant for an Atel Takeda break. But if you're someone who's preparing ahead of time, and I am coming out of the assumption that you're someone newer in Rise of Kingdoms looking at your future rather than looking backwards, if you've worked on your Constantine, and if you haven't worked on your Constantine before, now you know that you should work on your Constantine, because I would trade her for an expertise Constantine, for example, if I had the option. I personally am an archer-based player. All my archer commanders are expertised, so in my particular specific case, Artemisia is okay. But if I could have a Constantine instead of her as a non-archer player, I definitely would. Why? Because Constantine and Charles Martel do just as good of a job as Artemisia and Yi Song-ye or Artemisia and anyone else. Her usability is very, very niche and specific, and not everybody needs her. If you are someone who's going to focus on garrison, she's not a bad idea. If you're an archer player, she's not a bad idea. But anyone else, skip. She's not worth it. You'll probably have enough Artemisia's expertise in your kingdom to do the job that they need to do. She's just not good at a lot of things. She's very good at countering Atel Takeda, both on the open field and in rallies and garrison. But I think you can do better with 690 sculptures than expertise her. That's my opinion. At least let me know what you think in the comments down below. We're going to wrap all of this with like why all of these decisions were made. Don't worry. So stay tuned to the end. Our fifth and final group of commanders are the commanders that come out of gold keys. Now, honestly, I would not spend a single legendary commander sculpture on these guys right here. However, there are indeed a few small exceptions in which this would be acceptable. One, if you are someone who loves rallying cities and you play that role in your kingdom, this guy right here is great. And you can go ahead and spend legendary commander sculptures on it. It's not the worst thing on earth. If you're someone in the very, very, very early game, KVK Season 1, and you're looking for the best rally there is out there, a Frederick Yisongye used to do stupid work against a Richard Charles Martel or any other defense in KVK Season 1. So if you're a big spender looking to get ahead early on, Frederick Yisongye was just bonkers. Full archers was just bonkers during KVK Season 1. That's pretty much one of the only things that did a lot of damage to a Richard on a building at that point in time in which Richards were on the building the most. The third and final commander out of all this list that is possible to spend Legendary Commander Sculptures on is Charles Martel, and that's if you are a Garrison Commander player and you need him to finalize your Constantine Charles Martel pair for Attila Takeda. He is fantastic. So these are the three that I would say out of all of them that you could spend Legendary Commander Sculptures on. Here's the catch. The catch is that a big part of them are also available out of purchasing daily special bundles. As you can see right now, I have Julius Caesar in my bundles, but previously we had Cao Cao, Charles Martel, El Cid, and then you have Julius Caesar, Mehmed, and Freddy. So technically, you could not spend Legendary Commander Sculptures, and you can go through expertising all of them through that order plus the gold keys. I would not spend Legendary Commander Sculptures on any gold key commander unless you have a specific reason that will justify it. For the record, none of the gatherers are worth it. Cao Cao is nice, but other than speed, as a cavalry player who you already have a ton of speed, he's alright. He's not that crazy. El Cid is okay. He's not a bad archer commander overall, but in Julius Caesar, at a 5-5-1-1, that Julius Caesar is perfect. So open gold keys and you're set. Gatherers, there's nothing to talk about. So that's the fifth point, right? Don't spend Legendary Commander Sculptures on any of these unless, again, you're doing it for a very specific reason in which you understand why you're doing it. Now, let's talk a little bit about the state of the commanders that are like the Garrison commanders, the Attila Takeda breakers, right? A lot of you are going to comment right now, or already did comment and left the video without watching till the end, saying, oh, but we saw such good results of Theodora Zetian. We saw such good results. Why Zetian is not good? We saw such crazy results of Theodora and Artemisia. I'm like, well, true, but, big but. There are other pairs in there that do just as good and don't require of you to expertise these commanders. So, as an example, if you are someone who has Artemisia expertised, like I am, an Artemisia with Theodora would be great. But the best result I've seen so far, and that's with a broken Theodora, by the way, we'll be testing Theodora once they fix her. That's why we haven't been testing her yet, because she's broken. Her AoE barely works. We'll see how that changes after the update. But if you guys saw the little bit of tests that I've seen here and there, including Fahad's video, which was really, really, really good, a Charles Martel is all you need with Theodora. So why would you spend sculptures on either Artemisia or Zetian, who are very, very specific niche commanders, when you could spend those exact sculptures on Charles Martel and Theodora and get a Charles Martel that is fantastic for open field, for Garrison. He does great on my Shadow Legion wall. He does fantastic on Sunset Canyon, on Lost Canyon. He's great at everything. Why would you spend sculptures on someone like Artemisia or Wu? Because they are a good secondary. There's so many others. When I look at which commanders I want to invest in, the number one priority is shelf life and how much usability they have. Charles Martel knocks Zetian and Artemisia out the window when it comes to stopping Attila Takeda. If you want to stop Attila Takeda very early on, Charles Martel, Constantine, you're set. You don't even need Theodora. You can take Theodora after, sure, because you're expertising one commander a meta or something like that, two commanders a meta, decide you take a Theodora, sure, you can. There's no reason to invest in here early on, absolutely none, because Constantine will already be available when this is available, and to make matters worse, as Charles Martel is available from the beginning, you can get him expertised whenever and done deal. And same thing goes for Artemisia. So for all of you out there who are going to be like, oh, but this is so good against Attila Takeda, why are you not... There are so many more pairs now. The important, quote-unquote, one out of all the tests that we've seen was Theodora. And for the record, YSS2, but you haven't seen those tests yet. Theodora will do great against the Tail Takeda. Will do fantastic against the Tail Takeda. But who will be her primary or her secondary? There are plenty of options. I've seen Constantine do great. I've seen Charles Martel do great. I've seen Zetian do great. And I've seen Artemisia do great. It's absolutely no reason to choose either Artemisia or Zetian. Charles Martel or Constantine, excellent. That's what you want. Both of them, double excellent. You don't even need Theodora, theoretically. And so, why would you invest in Artemisia or in Zetian for a Tail Takeda? I have no idea. I have no idea. But you guys let me know in the comments down below. This is why I said rest in peace Zetian, because I truly don't see any more use for her beyond a period of like a month or two where after KVK Season 2, you have Ark of Osiris, when she's unstoppable in. Maybe the first fight-ish in Season 3. I don't know exactly on the timeline where a Tail Takeda come out. Once they do, she's out the window. In Ark of Osiris, in Open Field, in Garrison, in Sunset Canyon, in Gathering, and everything. She's bad at everything at that point. You can put her on your wall in Shadow Legion. That's what you spend 690 sculptures on. Rest in peace, Zetian. I'm Gekko. I'm out of here. I appreciate every single one of you. Drop the like on the video, subscribe to the channel, did all that good stuff. I'll see you all sooner rather than later. Take care and have a good one. Excuse me, and apologies for the long video. This one came out really long. I don't know why. Peace.